is 7 a.m. and it's now time for the Morning Watch with Mr. Stokeley Marshall.
Listeners to Love 101 FM are advised that the views and opinions expressed in this program are not necessarily those of Love 101 FM.
Hello and welcome to the Morning Watch on Love 101 FM. I'm your host, Stokeley Marshall. A special welcome to our listeners on love101.org. And if you are overseas and on the move, US listeners can access us at 712-832-8001. And if you are in the UK, 0330-332-6541. Or join us via the Love 101 FM app that can be downloaded from the Google Play Store or the Apple Store. You can also join us on Love 101 FM Facebook and YouTube Live in the first watch today. Ladies in lockdown. More anon on that. And in the second watch, the best of Jamaican Christian entities, Captain I Can and Mrs. Sunshine. Sunshine spelled SONSHINE. For our social media question, we ask, how are prisons a solution or not to the crime problem? Share your responses on our Love 101 FM Facebook and YouTube channel and also on WhatsApp 876-997-3125 using the hashtag The Morning Watch. We'll share your response later on the program, but first, here's our quote.
All right, good morning. Today's I quote is from Kermit the Frog from the Muppets. Wow, interesting. Nice, Kathy. It's a whole lot more satisfying to reach for the stars, even if you end up landing only on the moon. And this one is from Kermit the Frog.
And leave that one right there. The Morning Watch will be back after this break.
In life, the more you have to lose.
The more you love, the more you worry. The more you own, the less you sleep.
The more people rely on you, the more you have on your mind.
I have peace of mind,
knowing that whatever I own
and whoever I care about are covered by the very best.
With Sagicor Life and Advantage General, get life, health, and general insurance to help you protect what matters most.
Jamaica and its workforce are advancing quickly. Life-changing opportunities are arising. You need training and support. We are the Renewed Heart NSTA Trust, committed to providing new and emerging skills training and opportunities. Come to Heart. We'll help you claim your place in the workforce of the future.
As a fitness guy, I was surprised by my chronic illness diagnosis. I thought working out harder would fix it, but it wasn't enough. Now, my prescription meds are a part of my routine.
When I got my diagnosis, I really felt down and stopped spending time with the people I love. Then I decided not to let any disease get the best of me. And I'm committed to taking my meds as prescribed. On time, every time.
No hesitation. Take your medication. A message from the NHF. NHF is here for health. NHF is here for you.
It's Reggae Month, and the Jamaica Reggae Industry Association, JARIA, presents Reggae Praise, endorsed by the Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment, and the Sport, Wednesday, February 28 at 6 p.m. And what a glory that will be. Come hear the sounds of Levy's Heritage, Sister Pat, Humble, John Mark Wigan, Orlando Small, Odia Spencer Brown, Nadine Blair, and Perpetual Sounds of Praise. Your MC, Yours truly, Nadine Blair. Reggae Wednesdays Reggae Praise is on Wednesday, February 28th at 6 p.m. at the Festival Marketplace at Kingston Waterfront. The Festival Marketplace is situated near the Kingston Craft Market on Ocean Boulevard, right near the Myers Wharf. Easy to find and admission is free. So make your plans to come out in your numbers for a night of worship in the key of reggae. What a night, what a glory that will be indeed. Reggae Praise, Wednesday, February 28th at 6 p.m. Festival Marketplace. See you there. A Love 101 endorsed event.
If you know that this music belongs to the Lord, let me see your hands up. If you know reggae music belongs to the Lord.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Stokeley Marshall. We are now in the first watch. Now, there is a recent headline from a particular newspaper article, and, quote, tough life for prison women charged with killing children. We hear a lot about the conditions and behaviors in male prisons, but how much do we hear about those facilities that house women? What's a day like in the life of a female who is an inmate? Well, we have as guests today two former inmates who are female. We have Reverend Stacey Ann Garvey of Resurrected Garvey Ministries. We also have Claudia Roberts, and Reverend Garvey is actually in the studio with us this morning. Good morning, Reverend Garvey, and good morning, Claudia Roberts.
Good morning. Morning.
Are we hearing you, Claudia Roberts? I think we're trying to connect with her as we speak. Now, the obvious question many persons are going to be asking, because you're in studio with us, so people are seeing you physically, literally on social media, YouTube, etc. And of course, they're going to be hearing you through the airwaves in terms of radio. Why would a Stacey Ann Garvey have found herself behind bars? And let me acknowledge, of course, that I gather Claudia Roberts is now on the line with us as well. Reverend Garvey, if you care to share briefly.
So the Bible says that we were all born in sin and shaped in iniquity. And so in the line of living a sinful life, then, really nothing at all is exempt. So I don't think the question is, why somebody ends up in prison. The question should be, why is persons not doing what they need to do to stay out of prison?
Well, in particular, in your case, I don't know if you want to indicate to us what would have caused you to find yourself there.
So it's really bad decisions, taking the wrong side of life, and ultimately getting involved in criminal activity, ending up in prison.
I see. And do you wish to say, give us generally speaking, what was the nature of that activity? Or you'd rather not say?
It's out there already. I've written a book about it.
Okay.
I've given several testimonies about it. So, it's already out there.
All right. Well, for those who haven't read the book, haven't seen the book as yet.
So I was working for a company and I got involved in illegal activity and I got time in prison for it.
I see. Well, that's all she cares to share this morning. We also have Claudia on air. Claudia Roberts, good morning.
Pleasant good morning to you, brother.
And a very pleasant good morning to you as well. A similar question to you. I don't know if you wish to indicate what on earth would Claudia Roberts, what on earth would have caused you, Claudia Roberts, to end up in prison?
In the sake of love and situationship, I was involved with my baby into wrongdoing. And
there's a bit of an echo, Claudia Roberts. Could you slow down a little bit? Speak a little bit slower because we're battling an echo on your side. If you're on speakerphone, if you could take it off speakerphone.
Okay. clearly?
Much better. Go ahead, Claudia Roberts.
Are you hearing me now?
Much, much better, Claudia Roberts. Go ahead.
Are you hearing me?
Yes, we are hearing you loud and clear. We are hearing you loud and clear. We're hearing you much better now. Yes.
Okay, what I'm saying, I with my baby daddy.
Can you hold that thought one moment, Claudia Roberts, because there's a disturbance on the line which we are trying to resolve. Now, Reverend Garvey, I know that you may not want to go into details. So far, you have not gone into too much detail. But what was it like in terms of the conditions in the lockups, in the prison?
All right, so it's not that I don't want to go into details, but
that's fine.
For me, I believe
No, that's fine.
No, man, I understand what you're saying, but I believe that the focus many times is always on the wrong thing when we should be focused on, coming up with solutions to prevent persons from getting involved in these situations.
And we fully agree with that. So what were the conditions
so
like?
Lockup for me was persons might have a different view, but prison is what actually saved my life.
Really?
And so, yes. Oh. And so lockup for me was favor in a sense. And a lot of persons may disagree, but the truth is that Jesus makes the difference in every situation. And so the first week of being in prison, I got saved the first Sunday. And so it was a grateful heart that I had serving my sentence. And so what you find is that I made the best of every situation. And so lockup for me was not as bad as many persons would say it was for them. I had the opportunity to be rehabilitated. I had the opportunity to walk, the road of transformation. I had the opportunity to walk back into purpose. I had the opportunity to have my second child while I was incarcerated. And I also had the opportunity to actually make a big difference in my life and to be able to sit here and talk to others today.
And so the poor living conditions didn't disturb you?
I cannot, all right, so prison is prison. It's not your home, right? And that's that's the mindset that we have to have. And I said to persons at all times, the mindset is what guides you through every situation. You have to understand that prison is really punishment. However, because of mercy, they bring in what you call rehabilitation programs. So the comfort of your own home, you won't find that in prison. And so you have to make the best of your condition that you are living in there. The truth is that there's a roof over your head. You have a comfortable bed space to sleep, as comfortable as it can be. You're not sleeping on the ground like most other prison institutions that you hear about. You have a bedside area where you can make, a makeshift dresser to hang your stuff. You're allowed pillows. You can make your own pillows. You can get your own ice and your igloo to keep ice so you can have a cool drink. And so when I hear persons talk about conditions, it wasn't luxury. It wasn't the greatest place to be, but it was a space where you could live, be alive, and just go through the season of what many deem as punishment.
Now, your sentence wasn't a full sentence. It was literally cut in about half.
So I got 10 years.
Yes.
And I did less than 3.
And less than 3, even less than half. And what do you account for that, in your view?
Account for the short time or account for
the shortening of the time?
Favor. I mean, I saw my prison sentence as a second chance. And so when I got the sentence, and because I was in the institution like a year and some months prior to being sentenced on remand, and so I'd have gotten what's the word? Acquainted with the prison conditions and different programs that I can enroll in to run the time that I was gonna be given. And so when I got time and
Reverend Garvey, hold that thought, because I think we're already upon a break and we haven't even gotten Claudia Roberts in as yet. Because of the disturbance on the line. Listeners, don't go anywhere at all. We'll be right back on the Morning Watch.
Sometimes all we need is a listening ear. The listening ear, the counseling, the logical reasoning, and spiritual guidance are what appeal to us. That's why I'm here. I'm Dr. Joan Pinkney, the counselor, your counselor on Love 101 FM, Tuesdays and Wednesdays, 10 to 11 p.m. You know you can call on me. I will listen and more. So let's talk about what's bothering you. Anything. Tune in, listen, call in, text or voice message. I'm Dr. Joan Pinkney, counseling psychologist, ready with a listening ear. Tuesdays and Wednesdays, 10 to 11 p.m. Right here on the fabulous station, Love 101 FM.
When you say phosphorus, you say electrical. SWA cables, conduits, transformers, and breakers. When you say phosphorus, you say lighting, chandeliers, and more. When you say phosphorus, you say LEDs and solar water heaters. Phosphorus is electrical, lighting, solar, and LEDs. Visit us today, Kingston, Mandeville, and Montego Bay. Phosphorus.
From generation to generation, Jamaicans have depended on J&B Bank to make the pride and joy of providing a safe place for their families possible. Now, with no processing fees and no down payment mortgage options, you can open the door to your own sweet home, a legacy to hand to your next generation. Visit jnbank.com to get pre-approved today. J&B Bank will help you find a way.
Put your hands together to the Randy Williams Entertainment Center comes live this Friday, February 16 with young reggae ambassadors in Kingston. When some of reggae's emerging stars take to the stage. That's young reggae ambassadors in Kingston. Randy Williams Entertainment Center, Friday, February 16, 8 p.m. Admission free. Another Reggae Month 2024 event.
It's Reggae Month, and the Jamaica Reggae Industry Association, JARIA, presents Reggae Praise, endorsed by the Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment, and Sport, Wednesday, February 28th at 6 p.m. And what a glory that will be. Come hear the sounds of Levy's Heritage, Sister Pat, Humble, John Mark Wigan, Orlando Small, Odia Spencer Brown, Nadine Blair, and Perpetual Sounds of Praise. Your MC? Yours truly, Nadine Blair. Reggae Wednesday's Reggae Praise is on Wednesday, February 28th at 6 p.m. at the Festival Marketplace at Kingston Waterfront. The Festival Marketplace is situated near the Kingston Craft Market on Ocean Boulevard, right near the Myers Wharf. Easy to find, and admission is free. So make your plans to come out in your numbers for a night of worship in the key of reggae. What a night, what a glory that will be indeed. Reggae Praise, Wednesday, February 28th at 6 p.m. Festival Marketplace. See you there. A Love 101 endorsed event.
If you know that this music belongs to the Lord, let me see your hands up. If you know reggae music belongs to the Lord.
Hello and welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Stokeley Marshall. We are in the first watch, having a very interesting discussion with two ladies, and the topic is ladies in lockdown. And our guests are Stacey Ann Garvey, Reverend Stacey Ann Garvey, and Claudia Roberts, both former prison inmates. Claudia Roberts. Good morning, Miss Roberts. Claudia Roberts. Yes, we had a difficulty hearing earlier a couple of moments ago. A little bit better. It's a little bit distorted, but we're going to make an attempt. Claudia Roberts, can you indicate, and don't speak too quickly, speak as slowly as you can so we can hear you clearly, as best as possible. What caused you to go to prison, and what were the conditions like for you? Were there gangs? What were the negatives? And if there were any positives, what were they? So what did you go there firstly?
I was charged for fraud. Yes, nothing involved with my David. I didn't do things that were not Yeah.
1 second, Claudia Roberts. I'm not sure if you're hearing you well because you said charge. Charged with what? Oh, fraud. Okay, I see. It was a fraud-related charge. White collar crime. And you went to which of the institutions, to correctional institutions?
Institution in Jamaica, and that is Total Western. That in that time, at that time, it was located over by Portland.
Okay, I see. It was over there at the time. And what were the conditions like for you? You know, the negatives, and if there were any positives.
The negatives.
Any gang activity?
Church choir, but I was a big part of a church choir. I tried to get myself involved.
Okay, so when you were incarcerated, you were already a Christian, or you became a Christian after you got incarcerated?
No, I was incarcerated more than one thing, so God kept sending me back because he had a plan for me, and I could not see the plan until the third time. The second time I accepted Christ, came back out, and even accused me, but because I was involved into my baby father, but he was like a manipulator and abuser, so he said. And then God started to show me, and then I started to talk to you. You know, I said, it is God, and nothing else. So when God started revealing the face of me, I knew that I love him with all my heart. So the negatives in prison were just to me. You have a friend, yes. When I would walk away to myself, and then I would really that I would tell you, say, God, show me the way, because it is really I never.
I see. So both of you ladies are indicating the presence and the importance of God, of Christ, whilst you were in prison. Now, a question. Is it that when you were incarcerated, you know, Miss Roberts and Miss Garvey, you can weigh in as well, were you treated differently based on the nature of the crime you went in there for, or were you all treated the same regardless of the reason why you were placed in there? So maybe if a female had murdered someone or had committed some kind of, you know, sexual crime, maybe should have been treated differently from someone who did white collar crime, as you indicated you had done.
All right. In my perspective, when you are treated with a white collar crime, person will look to you, look up to you.
They would look to you in terms of?
Like yes, but money, when you are getting regular visitors,
we're having a difficulty hearing you, but are you saying you were treated better or worse? We're having a challenge hearing Claudia Roberts. Claudia Roberts, could you hold that thought 1 second? Claudia Roberts, could you hold that thought 1 second? We're trying to resolve this issue with the sound because it's a bit challenging for some listeners to hear with the distortions. Reverend Garvey, in your observations, did you notice that persons were treated differently depending on what they went into prison for?
No. So remember that the persons that work in the correctional institutions are workers, and so they're not related to you. You're not in an environment.
I don't mean from the workers. I mean from other prisoners.
I'm going broad.
Okay, great.
So you find that based on treatment in the prison, it's how you carry yourself. Whether you carry yourself respectfully, even though you're incarcerated, whether you carry yourself, you throw up yourself, you get involved in things that you're not supposed to get yourself involved in. So, the treatment was according to how you carried yourself. So there was no, if you're talking about people having friendships, that's something in and out of prison all over the world. And the same thing that I see happening in society is the same thing that would happen in prison. So, it's the same people that are inside there. They're just a community and an environment away from society. So there was no better treatment for persons who did a particular crime versus persons who didn't do a particular crime. So there was no criminal discrimination of anybody, whether inmate or officers, whilst I was in prison and based on what I observed.
And did you see, you mentioned the work of the correctional officers. In terms of when the correctional officers are not looking, did you see abuse prisoner to prisoner?
When you say abuse, what you mean?
Physical abuse.
There are seasons when inmates get into fights, and that's, you're talking about persons who are away from family, away from children. You're talking about persons who suffer from serious depression and anxiety and emotional challenges. And so, of course, you're going to have persons who get into conflict on a daily basis. You're going to have persons who get into conflict in seasons. And so I'm not going to tell you that there was an upsurge of violence in the prison. What I can tell you is that there were conflicts. And once you're a human being and you're dealing with other, especially women who are driven by emotions, there's going to be conflict. But I can't tell you that the violence in the prison was at such a rate that this and no. There are women in there. They're going through different challenges. And of course, you're going to have different conflicts from time to time.
And were there any inappropriate relationships of a sexual nature?
I was never involved in any inappropriate relationship of a sexual nature. And I was not privy to be able to tell you that persons were involved in sexual relationships with the same gender. What I can tell you, I would have observed people looking, chummy with each other, but to say that they were involved in a sexual relationship, I can't confirm or clarify of such.
Understood. And did the entire experience teach you anything in addition to what you have told us so far? Because clearly you came out a changed woman. But so in addition, did you gain any skills and experiences that have shaped you even up to this point?
So the skills I gained were really to sharpen the craft, as many would say. However, what I learned is that our prison systems is in need of greater rehabilitation programs that will help persons who are, you make a mistake and you want change, and there's so much more to life than where you are now. And so one of the things that being in prison, coming back to society, observing what takes place in there, there's a greater need for more emphasis to be placed on rehabilitation programs. And
Well, in the seconds that we have left, let's try to bring back in Claudia Roberts, who I think might now be on StreamYard. Claudia Roberts, what did the experience teach you, and what do you think needs to be done to improve what you could call the prison system? Claudia Roberts. Claudia Roberts, are we hearing you? Are you muted? We're having a difficulty hearing Claudia Roberts. Well, I think that is essentially about it in terms of our time. We're completely out of time now, it would appear. And you did indicate the need for more rehabilitation.
And more support for rehabilitation programs as well.
And what about when persons exit the prison system?
That's for a whole nother interview.
More none. I want to thank Reverend Garvey and Miss Roberts for being our guests in the first watch. We apologize to the listeners for the distortions in the line when we're trying to connect with Claudia Roberts. We did hear a little bit of what she said. And as Reverend Garvey has said, in terms of life after prison, that's for a whole nother interview. Listeners, please stay with us. We'll be right back on the Morning Watch.
Anything possible with a little savings in your hand.
The time by Jan Bank is
7:30 a.m.
Hurt less with Pharma Joint Flex. Taking Pharma Joint Flex daily helps to repair, replenish, and revitalize worn, damaged cartilage that causes joint pain. Do you suffer from arthritis and chronic joint pain? Then Pharma Joint Flex is the remedy for you. Our all-natural formula contains glucosamine and chondroitin, ingredients for joint repair, so you can get relief. Ask your pharmacist or doctor for Pharma Joint Flex, distributed by Massey.
The Jamaica Debates Commission presents Local Government Debates 2024, 9 p.m. Thursday, February 15. Teams from the JLP and the PNP will be questioned by an expert panel of journalists and you about local government policy and how it affects you. Thanks to JN Group, we'll help you find a way. Petrojam, serving Jamaica's energy needs. National Democratic Institute, the Lasco Foundation, Pan Jamaica Group, Miss Birdie, the Local Government Debates 2024. Presented by the Jamaica Debates Commission, Thursday, February 15 at 9 p.m. Watch, listen, decide, vote.
We doing business better business. So no it easy you have to set up a business. No you not to have contacts and big things to get your business out. Talk about business better business. No it easy you have to set up a business. So you not to have contacts and big things to get your business out. Talk about Jamaica business gateway. One single window for cross-border trade. Construction permit, real estate. More convenience, less red tape. With application portal online, so you now fit and open and all online. That's business faster, improved process. That means smarter, that means no stress.
Visit JamaicaBusinessReforms.com to learn how we are building better business together. Sponsored by JAMPRO and the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce.
Variety Williams Entertainment Center comes alive this Friday, February 16 with young reggae ambassadors in Kingston. When some of reggae's emerging stars take to the stage. That's Young Reggae Ambassadors in Kingston. Randy Williams Entertainment Center, Friday, February 16, 8 p.m. Admission free. Another Reggae Month 2024 event.
It's Reggae Month, and the Jamaica Reggae Industry Association, JARIA, presents Reggae Praise, endorsed by the Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment, and the Sport. Wednesday, February 28 at 6 p.m. And what a glory that will be. Come hear the sounds of Levy's Heritage, Sister Pat, Humble, John Mark Wigan, Orlando Small, Obia Spencer Brown, Nadine Blair, and Perpetual Sounds of Praise. Your MC? Yours truly, Nadine Blair. Reggae Wednesday's Reggae Praise is on Wednesday, February 28 at 6 p.m. at the Festival Marketplace at Kingston Waterfront. The Festival Marketplace is situated near the Kingston Craft Market on Ocean Boulevard, right near the Myers Wharf. Easy to find, and admission is free. So make your plans to come out in your numbers for a night of worship in the key of reggae. What a night, what a glory that will be indeed. Reggae Praise, Wednesday, February 28 at 6 p.m. Festival Marketplace. See you there. A Love 101 endorsed event.
If you know that this music belongs to the Lord, let me see your hands up. If you know reggae music belongs to the Lord.
The season for Lent runs from Ash Wednesday through to the Easter weekend, and Christians all over the world will make various sacrifices and join extra prayers and special fasts in observation of the most sacred time on the Christian calendar. Love 101 once again joins the Escarpment Road New Testament Church of God for renewal of the mind. After all, this is the aim, that our minds will be changed and revelation for a new mindset will be achieved. Join us every Monday, Wednesday, Thursday and Friday at 11:05 a.m., on Tuesday at 9:45 a.m., and Saturdays at 12 p.m. for Renewal of the Mind, a short reminder and devotional that will help to keep your mind focused on the Lenten season. Let us aim to be transformed and discern what the will of God is. Renewal of the Mind, right here on the Family Station. Love 101.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Stokeley Marshall. Let's take a look now at the newspapers to see what Jamaicans and others are saying and doing. And we have the physical copy of the Daily Observer here. It reads on the front page, one bad apple. Lawyers joust over tainted juror as cartels appeal begins at Privy Council. That's the headline. And this by Alicia Dunkley Willis, senior staff reporter at the Observer. We have online in Loop Jamaica News. Cop dies in early morning crash. A police constable is now dead after being involved in an early morning collision in Old Harbour, St. Catherine on Ash Wednesday. Condolences to his family. We have in the Gleaner, election takeover. And the headline continues to read, concerns raised as political parties accused of having national issues drown out parochial talks at local government level. Those and many other stories in our various news sources. Coming up next, we read some of the feedback from our Facebook or YouTube and WhatsApp question, which is, how are prisons a solution or not to the crime problem? If you haven't done so, leave your response in our Facebook or YouTube. Love 1FM Jamaica Live, and also WhatsApp your comments and voice notes to 876-997-3125 using the hashtag The Morning Watch. We'll be right back.
Don't miss the Morning Watch every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. on Love 101. And during February, Black History Month and Reggae Month, the Morning Watch will share interviews celebrating Jamaican Christian entities, movements, and persons who have been making a mark in our country. That's the Morning Watch, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. on the Family Station, Love 101.
Love 101 invites you to listen to the local government debates this Thursday, February 15 at 9 p.m. And immediately after the debates, listen for Encounter with the Praise Deliverance Ministry this Thursday, February 15, immediately after the local government debates, right here on the Family Station, Love 101.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Stokeley Marshall. We move right into the second watch. It's Black History Month, and on the Morning Watch this month, we want to celebrate some of the best Jamaican Christian entities, persons, or movements that have been making a mark in our country. This morning, we want to talk to Captain Ican and Mrs. Sunshine. Captain Ican is Jamaica's first superhero. He's an interactive 8 feet tall robot, which motivates persons. And as with some superheroes, he has there is Mrs. Sunshine, and the two make a dynamic motivational team. Good morning, Captain Ican.
Good morning to you, and how are you this morning?
I'm fine. And how is this? Is Mrs. Sunshine next to him?
Yes, good morning.
Good morning. And Mrs. Sunshine, S-O-N, and it is spelled S-O-N?
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about Mrs. Sunshine then. The sun, S-O-N. Explain.
Okay. So the S-O-N for Mrs. Sunshine is the Son of God. So what my name represents is allowing the Son of God, the light of the Son of God, to shine through me. So that's the meaning of the sun.
Okay, and Captain Icon is, well, what role do you play, Captain Icon?
Well, Captain Icon, I am man and machine put together, and I am a motivational speaker. And we go into schools, churches across Jamaica. We have been to the US and Canada.
And what's the origin of Captain Icon, and what are some of the issues you talk about, Captain Icon? What's the origin of Captain Icon?
The origin of Captain Icon is that they had a bookstore with the name Icon.
Oh,
Right?
they
Mrs.
who? They
Sunshine,
who?
Mrs. Sunshine and her husband,
Oh.
right, had a bookstore with the name
And
Icon.
Captain Icon is not her husband. I'm just joking.
Ah, that's a superhero secret. Right? That's a superhero secret. Who is Captain
Mrs.
Icon?
Sunshine cannot be married to a robot.
Right? So who is in the suit? That's a superhero secret.
I see.
And so they started out on a mission to using books to reach children with positive words inside the books. And then they wanted to have next aspect of it. How can we reach mass amount of children, right, and persons to encourage them with the words or with the task that is set before us? And the task is to empower persons to tell them 2 words, I can, right? The I can represent I, God can do all things, and you, the individual, when you're saying I can, that means you can achieve your goals. And the Bible says that I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. So that's our message, and we're bringing the message now: drugs and violence, no way.
Okay, so the issues that you deal with are in terms of anti-drugs, anti-guns. Am I
That's correct.
Okay.
Not just guns, but violence in general. Fighting at school, fighting at home. Yeah.
And when you say anti-guns, you mean anti-illegal weapons?
Yes.
All right. Because you can have guns legally. So what about any other issues, or just focusing on, let me say violence, anti-violence and anti-drugs. And any other issues?
Well, other issues that we deal with, it is motivating the students to do their work, to achieve their goals, to dream big, right? To start to put plans in place. For instance, we'll also tell them about writing down dreams and goals.
You said putting in plans, or putting plans in place?
Putting plans in place.
Okay.
Right. So writing down their dreams, writing down their goals, right? What they would like to achieve. It can be small dreams, small things. I'd like to get A's on my test. I would like to be the head boy of the school, a prefect, right? I would like to be doctor, lawyer, whatever they are. Putting down your dreams and see how you can work towards it.
And do you find other issues coming up when you interact with children? Because there's so many things that are impacting children now. Children are impacted by poverty. Children are impacted by sexual abuse, sexual promiscuity, teenage pregnancy. There are a litany of things. So in speaking with the children, do other issues arise? Or even if they do arise, you sort of just hone in, regardless, only on drugs and combating drugs and combating violence?
Well, there are other issues that arise, but we do address them. For instance, like some individuals might ask, how do they get over fear? Fear of speaking in front of persons, or fear of going up on the blackboard. So we do address issues like that. We do address also how to control their emotions. But in terms of, there are other issues that arise. For instance, other issues at home, but when it becomes too intense, we refer them to their guidance counselor or the principals.
Hold that
So,
thought, one
but
second. Very interesting point you just raised there, but we are already upon a break. Hold those thoughts. Listeners, don't go anywhere at all. Very interesting discussion. We'll be right back on the Morning Watch.
Time on Love 101 is now 7:45 a.m. You're listening to the Morning Watch.
Every day in a busy world, we have to do so much. Like with CIBC, and get that personal touch. Share your ambitions, let us help your dreams come true. At CIBC, you're at the heart of all we do. We're on your side, we're listening, we know the way you feel. CIBC, ambitions made real.
The Jamaica Debates Commission presents Local Government Debates 2024, 9 p.m. Thursday, February 15. Teams from the JLP and the PNP will be questioned by an expert panel of journalists and you about local government policy and how it affects you. Thanks to J&M Group, we'll help you find a way. Petrojam, serving Jamaica's energy needs. National Democratic Institute, the Lasco Foundation, Pan Jamaica Group, Miss Birdie, the Local Government Debates 2024. Presented by the Jamaica Debates Commission, Thursday, February 15 at 9 p.m. Watch, listen, decide, vote.
The Randy Williams Entertainment Center comes alive this Friday, February 16 with young reggae ambassadors in Kingston when some of Reggae's emerging stars take to the stage. That's young reggae ambassadors in Kingston, Randy Williams Entertainment Center, Friday, February 16, 8 p.m. Admission free. Another Reggae Month 2024 event.
You hear say only 4 out of 10 Jamaicans plan to vote?
Yeah, and I am not one of the 4. Why should I vote?
Why? When you stop and think about it, it's all right, you know. When we vote, we choose leaders to manage our country, develop our communities, and use our resources for our benefit. Be sure you care about that.
You have a point. Next election, I have to go vote.
What about you? Go out and vote. It's your right.
That was a message from the Electoral Commission of Jamaica.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Stokeley Marshall. We are in the second watch, and the topic is the best of Jamaican Christian entities. Captain Ican and Mrs. Sunshine, Sunshine spelled S-O-N, not S-U-N, S-O-N-S-H-I-N-E. And, of course, Captain Ican and Mrs. Sunshine are the guests. They are motivational speakers. Thank you for that response just before the break. Mrs. Sunshine, Captain Ican, if you will, sir. Am I speaking? Well, you said that you are a robot, but then I think you also indicated that you're a merging of human and machine. I'm paraphrasing, sir. I think you said man and machine. So, any connection between Captain Ican and artificial intelligence? I had the benefit of seeing you featured on the platform, and based on what I saw there, I thought I would raise the subject again. Any connection between Captain Ican and artificial intelligence? And if so, why?
Any connection with? Go again.
Captain Ican and artificial intelligence.
No. You see, I'm like,
you said
I am like man and machine put together, right? I am man and machine put together. So there is a connection there.
So there's a connection.
Yeah, so I'm man and machine put together, right? So what we do focus on, as you asked the question earlier, right? We can't do everything in the schools. We've been to over 25 schools now on this school year alone, right? And our plans are going to 50 schools per year.
Well,
right?
answering another question, which I didn't ask, but in terms of Captain ICANN, the merger of man and machine. You have indicated that yes, it's a merger of man and machine, which is segueing into AI. However, in terms of, I mean, just looking at you right now on the stream yard, sir, you are 8 feet tall. You know the one. You know the Terminators are 8 feet to 9 feet tall. And when the Terminator was made and came out, was you know, when that movie came out in the 80s or whenever that was.
80s, that's correct.
Yes, 1984, I believe. It was actually about, you know, this machine in 2029 that went back to 1984. So from way back then, they were envisioning that at around this time, well, we're now 2024. Just 5 years down the road, we'll have 2029. So, I mean, and now Captain ICANN is, can I say, being launched? Is now more prominent. So, do you see a connection between that point, 2029, you know, and, you know, human beings are augmented and they have things inside of them that make them a little bit more able to do things than just a normal human being? And I mean, you're talking to children, so they might be fascinated. So, I mean, any thoughts on that, sir?
Well, as we know, that technology is going to that direction, right? And you have,
maybe it's
when you
there
look
already
on the internet and all over the world, you're seeing that not only man and machine, but machine by themselves.
Yeah.
Right? Machine by themselves, right? Eliminating man out of the process, right? And that is where the world is heading, right? And that is also shortening the job list. People are getting out of jobs because machines are taking over, right? And but the difference with Captain ICANN and all these other machines is that Captain ICANN has a soul, and he's also a man, so he can also speak words and different things and feel emotions, feel everything that a man feels.
Oh wow!
God.
And also my suit represents something, right? When the Bible says that, put on
Sunshine, 1 second, Captain ICANN. Mrs. Sunshine, what were you trying to say, Mrs. Sunshine?
Yes, the armor of God. That's what she was saying.
Oh, the armor of God.
It represents the armor of God.
Right.
Yes.
What it represents, right? The Bible says, put on the entire armor of God, the helmet of salvation, the breastplate of righteousness, your feet shod with the preparation of the gospel of peace.
You need a shield now, Captain ICANN. Where's the shield? Get a shield.
Well, he has a shield, but he'll get it and show you shortly.
Not an internal shield. I need you to sword of the spirit now.
No, an actual shield.
Yes, I have an actual shield. Right? And the sword of the spirit, which is the word of God, that's also important. So what it is, the word. So you fight the battles with words. Right? So we teach children and talk to them about speaking positive words. Because words are life. Words bring transformation. Words bring change. Because our motto is also, words create thoughts, thoughts create action, and action shapes our destiny. So if you can change your words, that means you can also, at the end result of the day, change your destiny. Right? What you believe about yourself. It's also important.
Maybe you're trying to redeem AI, because based on what many of us have been hearing about AI, it sounds very daunting, and this sounds like dystopia. But maybe you're trying to redeem it, Captain ICANN. What are some of the experiences, though, you have had on the road, because you have been to all over and you have more places to go to? Captain ICANN and Mrs. Sunshine, what are some of the past positive experiences that you have had, and what other experiences are you looking forward to going forward?
Okay.
Well, Mrs. Sunshine would go first with her experiences.
All right. So on the tours, one of the most outstanding experience is when you've been to a school and you actually see on the spot transformation. You'll hear the principal saying, you know, the student
on the spot transformation. Explain.
In terms of, you have students who would be the troublemaker in the class, for instance, and when the tour is there and after their session with Captain I can. They actually stay in the classroom and you see them actually doing the work. And even recently, we had
Really?
an experience where
Yeah,
we have a child that
don't go that so quickly. So they were giving trouble before.
oh
After
yes,
the tour, they settle down and do their work.
while we're actually there, the
While you're
teachers
there.
will come and say that this child actually not coming out of the classroom today, and they're actually doing the work.
And that was done without threatening them. That was done
No,
without.
no, no threat, no
No, I didn't threaten them.
no threat. Those of them that are afraid of Captain Icon, we always help them to overcome the fear by saying to them, touch his hand. You say that his hand is how it feels, and we'll tell them that he loves children. He's not going to hurt you. He's a man
And
inside of the suit.
I should have been more specific in what I said about not threatening them. I was speaking from the teacher side.
Oh, no threat from the teachers. No
Right.
threat from the teachers.
But you are now
Um,
getting into something else which I didn't intend, which I didn't ask. But you are now saying that you ask the student to touch his hand to see that he's not human.
yes.
But
Yeah, those that are afraid, we'll tell them get over your fear, because one of the things we teach them is don't allow your fear to stop you from going forward. So if we realize a child is afraid, we don't force them into coming close, but we
you
ask them
say
just to
what you
touch his
say
hand initially.
and is who is behind the what I call it, the suit.
Yes, they always ask for him to take off his helmet so that they can see his real face and so on.
Yes,
So we get
yes,
that a lot.
But
and
that is not revealed. And you asked
uh,
about experiences, right?
yes,
It's awesome when you see, for instance, I would ask a child, they would say this child gives a lot of trouble in class,
Yeah.
and I would call up that child and ask them to stand because they're short or tall, but they're not. I'm 8 feet tall, so I ask a child to stand on a chair, and they can see straight in my face, and I would ask this class to tell me what this child does, and they would say this child him thief, him lie, him skull class, him curse bad words,
so
whole a lot of stuff.
they have all the worst labels for this child.
Yes, and then I would say to them, now guess what? Now I want you to tell him these words. Tell him that you love him. Tell them that or she. Sometimes it's a girl, right? Believe it or not, right? And tell them that they're born for greatness. Tell them that they can do it. Tell them never give up. And we start to speak life.
Yeah.
And some of the times this child would even start crying.
Yeah.
Tears just start and say, guess what? After all of that, I said to them that I want you to be my representative in your class. And what? But to be my representative, you will have to do your classwork, your homework, you have to talk to your teacher, ask your parents to help you. And that child immediately accepts, and that child you'll get reports of a transformation that takes place.
Yeah.
Because most of the time, children are given trouble because they have their energy in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
Right? But if you can put that energy in the right direction, tell them who they are, tell them that they are born for greatness. Because some of the children, they hear negatives from their parents, from their peers, from their friends. They hear negatives every day.
Yeah.
So we have to change it with words.
I wish we had another couple of minutes, but we're completely out of time. But you have made it very clear, sir, and Mrs. Sunshine. The transformation that takes place is second to none, it would appear. Thank you for being with us today, Captain Icon and Mrs. Sunshine.
And here's my shield.
There's a shield.
Oh yes, I see the shield of faith.
Yeah.
Well, maybe you reveal
the
that.
shield of faith. That's
maybe,
it.
Maybe it was on the morning watch that you revealed that shield for the first time. I don't know. Maybe not.
No, I bring the shield on the toes too.
All right. Thank you, Captain Icon and Mrs. Sunshine. We're completely out of time. Thank you, listeners, for being with us. Join us again next week as we look at the other topical and controversial issues. And of course, visit our Love 101 FM channel for various programs. Listen to the Morning Watch on our Love 101 app and download it today and stay connected to us, the family station, Love 101 FM, the number one gospel station in Jamaica. This has been the Morning Watch. Thanks to our producer Kathy Gale and to our guests. Join Reverend Dr. Dylan Toussaint next week as he looks at other topical and controversial issues of the day. I am Stokeley Marshall, handing back Love in the Morning with Chicago.
Thank you for listening to the Morning Watch. The time is now 8 a.m. and you are now invited to listen to the program